Welcome to episode 108 of Hump Day. Just working out, and we're pumping up pregame. So, anyways, episode 108 today is the 30th of November. It is great to see everybody, and we got almost the full crew. So, Hernan, how's it going, man? Are you pumped up for this Hump Day hangout?
Oh yeah. And you know what? I actually play the keyboard, and I see the guys with the keyboard here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, for the ones that, because this has been posted on our community, so I think that we could post it on the events page. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You can.
Sure. Oh man, well, Gary, if you're listening, feel free. Go ahead.
I think that's the most popular thread in the Mastermind for like the last 2 months.
Well, while Hernan's posting quasi-appropriate pictures of us, or what should be us, Marco, how's it going?
The show has already degraded to I don't know what the hell it is right now, man. But what's up?
Things are going good. How's the weather? I feel like I kind of missed out today.
It's pretty good, man. It's as I told you before, it's really cold at night. Now we're heading into December, so it's around 65. Brrr.
Oh, that's put on a extra T-shirt.
Yeah, I had to grab a sheet.
Yeah,
actually,
no, that's tough. That's
cover
tough.
myself so I don't feel that freezing cold. Other than that, know how it is here, man. It's the tropics. Can't complain.
Good deal. All right. Well, Chris isn't here, so we'll move on down. Bradley, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. No complaints. We're just going to do this real quick. Wanted to say thanks to everybody who entered the Black... What's up? No, I see you shaking your head at me. I thought you were like saying, no, don't say anything about this.
I'm sorry. I was reading. I
was like, what? Like, people want a contest. They should be excited. No. Anyways, everybody who entered the contest for Black Friday weekend, we're going to be mailing out to the winners. People... Sweet hat, and then we've got some T-shirts and a pretty cool mug. So thanks again for entering and sharing, and congratulations to the people who won. We're also going to be having some more information coming out soon. We've got some updates and some good juicy information about Video Powerhouse. So there's going to be some cool stuff coming down the pipe with that. So stay tuned in December. There's going to be some big news in January. So I'll leave it at that for now. And I think that's it, unless you guys, do we have anything else?
Those of you that are in one of the Semantic Mastery memberships, either IFTTT V2, Masterclass, or Mastermind, I posted in the appropriate groups today about a Video Powerhouse case study request. We're looking for applicants to create case studies using Video Powerhouse for 3 different video types: local video, evergreen affiliate / CPA videos, and launch jack videos, and also for Maps Powerhouse. And you will be compensated. Wrong videos on the page. For me? What do you mean? Oh, it's still 107.
Sorry, I just updated it. Yeah, still 107. I just saw somebody say, where's the new episode?
I don't know, but let me change that really quickly. Sorry about that. All right, so anyways, if you guys are in one of those groups and you see the post, if you want to apply, you will be compensated with free credits for SERP space, so that you can perform the case study. And then after the case study has been completed and delivered, then you will get an additional 500 free credits as well. And then we're going to select the best case studies to be used in our promotional material, that sort of thing. And we'll probably end up giving some extra compensation to the case studies that are selected. So, by the way, the video has been updated on the page. So
awesome.
Okay, cool. Besides that, I don't think we have anything else, do we?
No, let's do this.
All right, cool. I'm going to grab the screen. Oh, yeah, cameraman, we need to do that too. I was on short. I set this up very, very quickly today. That's why we're a little bit screwed up here. All right, let's see if you guys can see. Actually, you know what? I'll take the whole screen. I'm assuming you guys can see everything all right?
Yeah, we can.
All right, just 1 second. Zoom in a little bit. Let's see this awesome GIF.
That's awful.
Gosh, what were you and Hernan doing, Adam?
Yeah, just getting pumped up.
All right.
Is that what they call it now?
Assie's the first one up. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think we had this trouble last week or the week before. Hi, all. If I have a website with an IFTTT ring to it, can I link from the footer to the website to the ring? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. If you're talking about like being able to put like your links to your network properties in like the sidebar or the footer, yeah, that's fine. Because remember, most of those are social media properties or Web2. They're extensions of your brand, right? So there's a plugin. If it's a WordPress site, there's a plugin that I've always used for doing that. It's called Social Stickers. Okay, again, Social Stickers. It's a free plugin. You can install that into your WordPress site, and then there's like, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of different icons that it comes with, and all you do is enter in your profile URLs, and it will automatically populate with, and there's several different icon options as well. So that's the one that I've always used, and that way you can just insert a widget into a sidebar or a footer. Or if you're going to hard code it into the theme, you can do that as well. It really doesn't matter. What I would do is just mainly link to your main social media profiles, like the big 5, right? Because that's pretty standard. And then for the rest of the IFTTT properties, I would probably link those using the JSON-LD markup, right? Structured data markup, because you can then stick all of your other profile links for your IFTTT network in the same as attributes in the header of the site, right? And so it's not going to show up on all the pages, like it won't be visible to a visitor. But Google, which is, the bots, they will see all of those links as same as attributes. And again, that's something that you can do with JSON-LD markup. And there are a couple different JSON-LD markup creators that you can use that are right online. And you can just do a search for that in Google to find them. Or if you need to, we can post a couple sources or resources for that here on the event page. Okay. All right, Danny Stillman is up. He says, hey guys, I'm new to the IFTTT program. Was having issues with Google Plus pages. When using Classic, it had issues creating the page and would error out when trying to edit it. So I decided just to get familiar with the new Google Plus pages. Okay, Danny, they suck. I can tell you that right off the bat. I'm able to edit the page when I logged in at the URL about.google.com. Okay. However, when I try to preview the page in an incognito window, it won't display anything unless I log in. Is this normal for pages, or is there a different public URL that I should be using? Yeah, Danny, whenever the about.google.com, that only works when you're signed in. And that won't allow you, like, for example, if you have, let's say you have Firefox open and you have, created the page. So you're already logged into your profile or to that Google account, right? Whether it's a profile or a page, it doesn't matter at that point. That about.google.com URL will work there because you're logged in. But let's say that in Chrome, you're logged into your main profile and you take that URL from the Firefox browser and paste that into Chrome. It's still not going to pull it up because it's a different account. Does that make sense? So it would, if you were to hit the about.google.com in Chrome, it would pull up your profile. Does that make sense? So my point is that, yeah, that's not, what you want to do is just get the Google Plus URL, all right? You edit it on the about.google.com URL, but the public view URL is going to be the one that's plus.google.com / and then a string of, numbers, which is your page ID, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. The new Google Plus interface sucks. I don't know why they're trying to force that on everybody, but it is what it is. We have to deal with it. But I totally agree. It's kind of convoluted on how you edit all that stuff now. And in fact, I actually set up another page just the other day, and the actual links section wasn't present. It was weird. I created a new Google My Business local page, right? Because remember, all pages are now all fall under the Google My Business title, right? So that's how you manage your pages now, is you find them in the Google My Business dashboard. You don't find them in Google Plus anymore. Under classic Google Plus, you still can, but under new Google Plus, there's not even a pages section anymore in the sidebar or the menu option, the slide out menu from the left, if you know what I mean, or from the top, I guess I should say. This right here, this menu here, it doesn't even show pages in the new one. So the only way to access those is through Google My Business, right? And so from there, you have location pages and brand pages. And if you create a location page, and one of our mastermind members, I believe it was Carol Bell, she pointed out that recently she had created a few pages or whatever. And there was, I guess Google automatically merged a locations page and a brand page. And it used to be that you could create separate locations pages and brand pages for the same company, for the same brand, the same website. You could create a locations page and a brand page. It looks like they're trying to do away with that, but when you create a new locations page now, it creates a brand page for you. It's interesting because I just experienced this like this week, literally. I think it was Monday. I created a new Google My Business page and it automatically created a brand page for me. However, the brand page now doesn't even have all of the sections to add links or other profile links like the old brand pages did. So it does, however, give you the introduction and the about section that you can edit, which is just like a text editor. It's like a WYSIWYG editor. And in there, you can actually put text in and hyperlink using anchor text, you know, whatever you want, whatever text you want for anchor text. So as far as I know, without, and again, I only played with it a little bit on Monday. When I get some time to dig into it a little bit more, I will. But from what it looks like to me is what they're doing is they've redesigned the pages, the Google My Business pages, both locations and brand pages, to not have the link section. Maybe a brand only page has the link section, but a locations page, we all knew that didn't have a link section anyways. The locations page didn't. But the brand pages would allow you to. But now when you create a locations page, it seems to automatically create a brand page, but it's restricted in that it doesn't have all those sections that we're used to seeing in Google Plus Classic. So yeah, I totally understand your frustration, Danny. We've talked about this a couple times in the update webinars. You should have access to all of those. I think probably with the last two, and in the last two update webinars, we talked about that a little bit more. And we'll probably talk about that even further because the changes are still being rolled out, guys. If that makes sense. So, you know, whatever we talked about 2 months ago is probably different now than it was as far as Google Plus interface goes. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Also in the training video about Buffer, only Google pages were available to connect with. Buffer has added the option to link a Google profile now. Does it matter which one we connect to, or should we connect to both? Really? You can connect a profile now to Buffer?
I didn't know that.
I was going to say, can anybody else confirm that? It's not that I don't believe you, Danny, but I thought that was against Google's terms of service. Google Plus terms of service was to have auto posting to profiles. But anyways, maybe they changed that too. That may be true. I'll have to look into that. In fact, give me a second. I'm going to write that on my whiteboard for IFTTT updates.
Yeah, I'm checking on my Buffer account while we're at it. So
Buffer post to profiles. Just a minute. If so, I'll add that to the list for the next update webinar to cover, Danny. So I appreciate you pointing that out. I will definitely look into that. Hernan's looking into that as we speak. But typically what I do, Danny, is I would still connect to your brand page. In other words, your page instead of your profile, because that's what, you know, you basically are creating a brand for each website that you put a ring around, right? Unless it's a personal blog, in which case, yeah, it would make sense. Even a personal blog, it would still make sense to have a personal blog page, so to speak, instead of just your profile. But if you can syndicate to both, I think though with Buffer though, can't you? And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with Buffer you can only connect to one social media unless you have an upgraded paid account. I think you can only post to one social media account through the free account.
Yeah, that's correct. With the free account, you can only pick one. Like you can have several. You can connect Facebook profile, page, or group, but you can only post to one of those. You know.
Right.
And yeah, you can connect Google Plus profile, as I can see here.
Wow.
On Buffer. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that said, I will add. I'll cover that in the next update webinar, Danny, for sure. But and I'll look into it and I'll play with it a little bit too to see how we can best utilize that. Since this is new to me, I can't really give you a good advice on that now, other than I would still connect to the page for syndication to begin with, and then maybe sometime between now and the next update webinar, if that changes, you will know, because I'll let you guys know on the update webinar. Okay. But for now, I would say still continue to post to the page. Unless, of course, by the way, you have like a really good following on Google Plus, and then it would make sense to also post to your profile so that you get more engagement and everything else. Devin's up. He says, is there any issue with having an affiliate link in a YouTube video? Does it affect rankings? Also, just noticed when live stream videos, there is an option for content declaration for paid promotion. Would we check this box for affiliate links, or does that create more problems? That's a good question. I don't know about that specifically, that option, Devin. I haven't looked into that. But as far as having an affiliate link in a YouTube video, does it affect rankings? I've never seen that, because here's the thing. Now, if you put an external annotation link in the video itself to where, like, you know, there's a clickable link in the video player, somewhere in that video player frame, then that's supposed to be only going to a website that you have, you know, access to. So in other words, your own website. And in the past, I used to actually verify my website, my associated website, and then I would use a redirect plugin. So like for example, Pretty Links, or, you know, any one of the redirect plugins, and I would create a redirect link from my domain to an affiliate offer, and I would put that directly in the video. However, that is against Google's terms of service and or YouTube's terms of service, and they will terminate your account if they catch you doing that. And I've had that happen. It's kind of, most of the time you'll get away with it and they'll never catch you, but I don't want to lose a channel over something like that. So now what I'll do is create a landing page on my domain, which you can call it a bridge page, right? And a bridge page is just where you link to a page on your domain where you can give more information about the affiliate product, and then have the affiliate buy link or buy button or whatever, or the link that takes them over to the sales, you know, your affiliate link that takes people to the sales page on that bridge page. And that's a way to get a kind of a workaround so that you can still use external annotations within the video, but not violate the terms of service. As far as having an affiliate link like in the video description, I've never had any issues with it. And again, I still use a redirect URL because I don't ever drop like a raw JVZoo URL, and for example, in the video description. You can do that though. I've seen other people do it. I don't know if that affects rankings or not because I've never done it, but I've seen other people do that. You know, I've seen videos that had just like raw JVZoo links or clickbank links directly in the description. Typically, I will always cloak the link anyways through one of my own domains. It'll be a redirect that'll be you know, cloaked or a meta refresh or something like that. So it's just a prettier URL than a raw affiliate link for the most part. Okay. But do you guys have any experience? Do you know if it affects rankings at all? I've never seen it.
No, me neither. Because usually the rules that govern YouTube rankings and Google YouTube video rankings on Google, because you need to factor in the two rankings, you know, YouTube rankings on its own and then Google rankings. They're different than the usual websites, you know, because we have seen embeds, we have seen those kind of things, which is the main thing that we were creating Video Powerhouse in the first place. So embedding the video will usually help it rank higher on YouTube and on Google. So the rules are kind of different. And at the end of the day, unless you have an annotation, as Bradley was saying, or a card with an external link, the only place that you will actually put the link for your affiliate for your affiliate product would be on the video description, you know.
Yeah.
And if you are, unless you copy and paste that description, which we advise you not to do, if you embed that video into somebody else website, like we are doing with Video Powerhouse, you will only get the video. You won't get the description. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it's different in a way that, again, I've seen that one of the best things that you can do is launch jacking with videos. And for example, RYS Academy for launch jacking, those kind of things. And, you know, usually most of the descriptions will lead to JVZoo or similar, you know?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sky's up next. He says, I have an IFTTT ring around my money site. Let's call it Ripper Shoes. I want to put a completely separate IFTTT ring around my YouTube channel. Should I use Persona to brand it, or can I use something like Ripper Shoes Video House? You can do either, Sky. Typically what I will do is, usually I just do a Persona rings around the YouTube channel. If I have a branded ring and associated website, right? So I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a money site, and I got one branded ring. What I will typically do is put the branded ring around the money site, because YouTube doesn't need any extra authority. I mean, yes, you do want to build a channel authority and all that. I get all that, guys. But what I'm saying is your website, your self-hosted website, that's where you're going to want to push most of the relevance. Why? Because you own that, right? You don't own the YouTube channel. They're just allowing you to use it, right? So I always try to build the authority on the money site with the branded ring. So for the, and that's, you know, that's if I'm not syndicating from both the YouTube channel and the money site to the same branded ring, which you can do, just so long as you don't have, like, every time you upload a video to your channel, if all you know, and that syndicates to your branded ring, if you were to just take that video and then create a blog post on your blog with the video and the same title as, you know, the blog post title would be the title of the video, that kind of stuff, then that would also syndicate, and that ends up looking like duplicate posts on the Web 2 properties, your network properties, right? And so you don't want to do that. But if you do have, like, for example, if you've got your YouTube channel that is syndicating to the network, and then you take the videos from your channel and republish them on your blog, but make the posts unique to where they're not just basically an exact duplicate of the video. You can still use the video in the post, but change the titles, you know, add some text and all that kind of stuff. Then it's not duplicate content on your Web 2s, right? Your network properties. But if you want, I mean, typically I just do a persona ring. If I'm going to split it up to where I have a separate ring for, or if I want to stack additional rings on the YouTube channel, which we always encourage, right? You know, your main money site, you only want to, in my opinion, you should only be using a branded tier 1 ring. That's it, nothing else. But on YouTube, you can stack as many tier 1 rings as you want, persona-based rings, and as many tier 2s or full 2-tier networks as you want. And for that, I always just use persona-based stuff, because all we're looking for there is really the push, the embeds and the backlinks and the social signals and stuff that those networks can provide to the YouTube video to help them rank and get, you know, hopefully get some traffic from some of those network properties as well. But for ranking purposes, that's what we're looking for. And it doesn't matter whether it's a branded ring or not for the YouTube channel. Okay. For the money side, it obviously does. So it's up to you. You can use a persona. Typically, that's what I do. But if you want to create like a second branded network that has the distinguished, or the distinguishing label of video, whatever, you add something in there just to make it different from your main branded network, then you could do that as well. It's really just a preference thing. Okay. Since I always just have my VAs build the networks, I just always have the branded network built for the money site, and then persona-based networks for everything else. Ethan's up. He says, hey guys, I recently purchased Local Kingpin and went through all the training. It was a really good strategy, and I see a lot of potential in it. I set up my AdWords account and started running campaigns. I made back my investment in your training literally overnight, and then some. Awesome, Ethan. But things went south from there. About a week into the campaign, I reallocated my campaigns from my initial account into another new account, mainly for branding purposes. For a few days after that, I had both accounts running different ads at the same time and targeting different keywords. For billing, I had 2 different cards paying for the ad spend. One debit, one credit card, but the billing info was the same. Okay. Anyways, they suspended all my accounts due to suspicious behavior in the payment activity of this or your other AdWords account. I think on one of the accounts, I tried to manually pay the balance off, even though billing was set to automatic. A Google supervisor mentioned this as a potential factor. When I sent an appeal to them, they responded with a vague and unhelpful email saying, we confirm that your account is in violation of AdWords policies. Since this decision is final, the account will not be reinstated. Please avoid creating additional AdWords accounts as they will be subjected to the same suspension. Well, that sucks, Ethan. And now my billing information is flagging automatic suspension, so I guess I can't use my address anymore. Although I am strongly considering advertising with Bing now for more reasons than one, I would still like to have the option to advertise with Google. And so I'm in need of some help. What would be your recommendation on how to approach this so I can get back up and running and not have to worry about this BS? Yeah, that kind of sucks, man. That's a good question because I haven't run into that.
Yeah, I had.
You have?
Yeah, well, you can get your AdWords account suspended for a bunch of reasons. One of those is that my question would be, why would you have different AdWords account under the same name? You know, the bank details, those, you cannot fake them. Like, I would definitely go with different campaigns if you want within the same account, or if you create like a Google a client service, you can have a business, you know, and you can manage that account. So that would be like step number 2, maybe filing for an LLC, having a different address, and then, you know, you go from there. But again, at the end of the day, you're playing under their rules, and this applies with AdSense as well. You cannot have more than one AdSense account with them having the same details. You know what I mean? So they can shut you down. With that said, I would say be patient, Ethan. Try to call them, and you know, follow up with them, and just tell them, well, you know, I didn't know, etc. Most often than not, and this comes to kind of a social engineering side of things, in the way that it will strongly depend on the people that picks up the phone. You know, some people will be really, you know, helpful with you. Some people won't. So it's just a matter of, you know, picking up the phone and calling them. The same happens with Facebook accounts that get banned. Just pick up the phone and call them, you know, and try to get that account reinstated, because the main reason is not the account. The main thing is your credit card and your debit details. You know, those are the sensitive data.
If I can add,
so I would say that, yeah.
Go ahead and finish, Hernan. Okay, act really ignorant. Call them and act just as stupid as you can. Just do, oh my God, I had no idea. I didn't know. Just be as ignorant as possible. Don't go in there acting like you know it all and that you're trying to solve it, and that you were doing for branding purposes and whatever. Just tell them you were trying to switch things over. You didn't know that you needed to shut one off and start the other one. Just act stupid. And that I've noticed that they try to really help people who are ignorant. When you go in there acting like you really know, and that, hey, look, you know, I was trying to brand and I was doing this, and oh, okay, so we know you were trying to game us. That's done. We're shutting you off. That's it. No question. Call them, act ignorant, and, you know, try to get someone else on the phone that will actually help you. They can be really helpful at times, man. And as Hernan was saying, it just depends on who you get.
Right. Yeah, it's like calling the bank. You know, that's the way I see it. Like, if you have a problem with one of these companies, you just need to keep trying. That would be, you know, my main intake on it, because again, I've had like some accounts at AdWords accounts unbanned because of that. Like, some client would make a mistake and they will shut them down, and, you know, I would have to intercede. So the only, you know, last thing that I wanted to say is that Bing, it's definitely not Google. So my best bet would be to get your account back and running, Ethan. If you wanna invest in advertising on Bing, go ahead, but the kind of audience that you will have on Bing is completely 100% different that you will have on Google, you know, and the results will be different. So Local Kingpin, it has been proven on Google because there's an audience there. There's a demographics that use Google. There's a demographics that use Bing. They're completely different. So I would definitely go ahead, try it. Of course, you know, if you have a tested funnel that converts, go ahead and try it. But do not expect that Bing will replace Google. It doesn't, you know, It doesn't, like, at all. So
the last thing I was going to say was, you can always, and I've done this, is go get a prepaid credit card that you fund, like a prepaid or a debit card that you fund, one of those, you know, kind of things. You don't need a whole nother bank account, but just like a NetSpend, for example. Netspend.com is I got several prepaid debit cards from there that I load. You just go to Western Union and load some cash onto them, and then you can use those as well. And that's something that I've done, where so that I can have multiple credit cards for stuff like that, is just go to NetSpend. If you need a different billing address, then I recommend, getting a PO box or something, and doing that. Now, that, again, try what Marco and Hernan both said first, because that would prevent you from having to do that. But there are workarounds, and sometimes that kind of stuff sucks. But luckily, I haven't run into this problem. But I will do some more digging into that as well, because that's something that I certainly would need to update Local Kingpin about if I find that that's going to be a problem. I don't want anybody else experiencing that either. So I'll look into that, and I will update the training. By the way, anybody that purchased Local Kingpin, I added several more update videos this week. There's an update section in there, and there's a doc or a lesson in there where I list all of the updates in the order that they're updated and put the dates so that you always know what is the most current. And go check that out because I added like 3 more videos this week. Okay.
But at least he knows it works. So as soon as he gets it going, he can start making money again. So
that's right.
There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. When you get this all sorted out, you can go back to making money, and it can be sorted out, man. It's not the end of the world.
And interestingly, we have masterclass in about 30 minutes. And anybody that's been in masterclass knows that I've been working on an affiliate campaign using AdWords, well, and other traffic sources. But I've been fighting Google AdWords for about 6 weeks with this campaign because it's one of those industries or topics that Google doesn't like very much. And so you have to jump through 1,000 hoops. And once you jump through those 1,000, they put another 500 in front of you. And for about 6 weeks, I went back and forth with AdWords for about 15 different email replies, back and forth with them, trying to get it squared away. And I finally got all my ads approved for that account. And now I'm driving a lot of traffic into it. So sometimes you have to jump through some hoops, Ethan. But once you do, then it opens up those traffic gates for you. So it's kind of worth it to go through the trouble. It's a pain in the ass, but once you get through it, you'll be better for it. All right. Next question. I have another question about YouTube SEO. What do you think is the best way to get Google to crawl YouTube videos so it can index them and/or update meta titles that were changed? I'm currently having these types of issues right now where many of my videos aren't indexed yet, albeit it's only been like 1 or 2 weeks since I created them. And in some cases, changed the meta title well over a month ago, and Google is still showing the old meta title. I vaguely remember you having a course about YouTube SEO, so could you share the name of it so I can check it out? Thanks in advance. Our YouTube SEO course specifically was called YouTube Mastery, and it was basically derived from the master class, like the first 8 weeks of the master class, Ethan. I don't know if you're in the master class, but if you are, I just go back and watch the first 8 weeks of master class in the members area. The other, if you want to purchase that course, it's like, I don't know, $67. It's called YouTube Mastery. Just search Google for YouTube Mastery by Semantic Mastery, and you should be able to find it. It's a little bit dated in that some of the interfaces have changed. The interface has changed slightly in YouTube since we recorded those videos, but all those principles still stand that are taught in that course. But as far as your videos not being indexed, that's kind of, it might be a channel thing. I don't know, Ethan. I'm just making an assumption here. I know that there's been some flukes in the past where I've had videos that just flat out wouldn't index, and it's just weird. Like, it's kind of like just an anomaly, so to speak, when that happens. If you have multiple videos on the same channel that aren't indexing, it might be a channel issue. I don't know that that's the case, but that's something I would look into. Like, take the same video, one of the videos from your channel, upload it to another channel, even if it's a test channel that you just create, to see if it will index right away. And if it does, then it can lead you to believe, right? You can make the assumption that your other channel has got an issue of some sort. However, that said, if you want Google to crawl your videos, there's 2 things you can do. One, if you have a Twitter account that's a real active Twitter account, you can tweet the URLs. That seems to get the bots come crawling very quickly. Something else you could do is drop a link in a Google Doc, right? And set the Google Doc to public so anyone on the web can see it. Right, and then because Google Docs.
Stop! How are you going to give that away?
You can do that. There's also the Google Crawl, the submit tool for Search Console, right? So if you go to Google and you search submit URL, right, you got to be logged in to your Google Search Console. But if you put submit URL to Google, it's going to be this first link right here. You have to be logged in, but you can also submit it directly to Google. Okay. And that's all you need to do. And again, now, as far as the index updating for like your YouTube titles and stuff, that's not something you have any control over. You can't force Google to update. And typically with YouTube stuff, though, well, at least the thumbnail image will update almost immediately. But like the YouTube title and stuff like that in the search results, it depends on what kind of industry you're in. Some industries, the index gets refreshed more often than others, and some it's just really, really slow. Like, for example, some of the home services industries that I work in, like the index doesn't refresh for like sometimes a few weeks. And so you'll make a change to a SEO title for a post, for example, or a page or something like that. And sometimes it'll be 10 days, 2 weeks before the title's updated in the search results. And that's just because they don't refresh those results as much because it's not as heavily as a changing industry. that makes sense. The industries that are often content heavy, where there's a lot of activity, like for example the tech industry, something like that, those kind of results refresh a lot more often than say roofing results would. Okay, so you don't really have any control over that. But if you want to get them to, you can check to see if they're indexed by doing, for example, the submit tool right here, and then just do the info operator. If you go to Google and you type in info colon, right, info colon, and then you put the YouTube URL in, it'll show whether it's indexed or not. Okay, so for example, let me just grab something from our YouTube channel real quick. One of our recent videos, let's say this one, for example. We'll copy that link address. We'll come over here and paste that in. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Forgive me, let me go back to Google. We'll say info colon, and that one's, let's get rid of this. That one's not indexed yet. Okay, well that one's not indexed yet, but they typically will index and you'll be able to see it very quickly. You could actually, you can probably just search directly on, no, that's not showing up either. But that's typically how I will go about it. Again, if you've got a Twitter account that's active, that's one of the best ways to do it, because then it's like, it's not as spammy, so to speak, because you're like naturally getting bots to come crawl it. All right. Ivan's next. He says, hey guys, I have a client that I made a Google My Business account for. Now she asked me to build a website for the company. Google Sites or WordPress? I still would suggest, I don't know, my personal preference is still with WordPress, only because you have a lot more, although again, there's the new Google Sites that are responsive and all that. I have not played with those at all. I have zero experience with those. So based upon my knowledge of the old Google Sites versus WordPress, I would still suggest WordPress, only because you have a hell of a lot more design control and also the, the ability to add plugins and a lot more functionality. But Google Sites are certainly powerful, and I know the new responsive designs that they have are a hell of a lot better. So again, it would be I would have to have more experience with the new Google Sites to be able to make a clear determination. But from my experience that I have at the moment, I would say WordPress. But what do you guys think? What do you think, Marco?
You know my answer, do both.
Yeah, you could. You could still do both.
There's no reason why they should be mutually exclusive. Go with WordPress, since that's what IFTTT is. It's the foundation, right? You run the RSS feed from WordPress to your IFTTT, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a secondary site on Google Sites, make it look really good. Because I don't know, Justin, our RYS done for you, the guy who does the DFY RYS stacks, he's doing some awesome websites with the new interface, and he did some training videos on how to do them, which I might share at some point. But I mean, they really look good. They're responsive. You can do just a ton of awesome things with those. So I would just say both. Even if you do an old one with the old interface, do it. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. We do with RYS Academy, right? We build a companion G site for the Drive stack. So no reason not to do it.
That's right. I would still make WordPress in that case the main money site, but use Google Sites as a feeder site. Okay. All right, Justin is up. He says, hey guys, any chance I could get some direction with building PBNs for video syndication? Any chance you can point me to a walkthrough on how to set one up? You have a section of masterclass on some things. What themes do you use? Do you make logos and graphics for each surrounding IFTTT network? What basic plugin should be using? Really like a video with you guys creating one from start to finish. Thanks, Justin. Well, I don't know that I'll create a video for that, Justin. Maybe. It's not going to be anytime soon, I can tell you that. But if you're in the masterclass, we have a masterclass webinar in about 20 minutes. If you want to post this question over there, we can go into a little bit more detail on that. That's fine. And knowing that you want that, you're requesting that, we also have a thread in the masterclass Facebook group for, content requests or from you guys, from many members that has been, despite my nudging, despite my prompting, there's been very little requests for content in that thread. And it's in the masterclass Facebook group. So if you want to contribute to that and request some specific content, that's the place to do it. And we can cover that a little bit more in depth. Okay. But video PBN sites are a hell of a lot easier. Like there's a lot less work involved as far as footprint issues and everything as there are with website PBNs that you're going to be using for backlinking to websites. So you can be a little bit more, you don't have to be quite as careful, is my point, for video syndication sites. Brian's up next. He says, in terms of creating lead gen sites, what are some good examples in terms of design? This example site I found ranking locally to me in a hard niche of AC repair in South Florida. What do you guys think? How would you improve this design? As always, many thanks. Let's take a look at it.
I would change the UI big time, but
yeah, it's a little busy.
Just the UX, yeah, it's busy. I mean, if it works, right, there's something going on, right? But
yeah, they
could really clean up the calls to action.
As far as landing pages for lead gen sites, there's a tested, tried and true, a proven landing page format that works really good with like AdWords campaigns and stuff. For example, I can't pull an example up to show you, Brian, right here on this webinar. In Masterclass or Mastermind I can, but I can't do it here. But you could search online and just find landing page templates for lead gen sites that you're going to see a lot of the same elements. Typically, you'll have a headline, your contact information at the top. You'll have a headline and then a video and an opt-in box. And those are like the main elements. And then you're going to want, bullet points and maybe some testimonials. Obviously, testimonials are always good. Contact information in several locations, that kind of stuff. But yeah, this one to me is just too much. There's just too much text and everything else. Personally, I don't like this design. And the reason why so many of the other or the landing pages for local lead gen are similar is because they've been proven to work and to convert the best. Okay. So I would do that. Start searching, again, in Masterclass or Mastermind, I can go over and I can pull up some examples that are in some of our courses to show you. I just can't do that right here. I'm not prepared for that anyways. But, you could search Google for like lead gen or local lead gen landing page templates and that kind of thing. And you'll start seeing some common elements across various designs. Then that's the reason why they're there, is because they've been proven to convert with lots of testing. Okay. So, and then obviously you can always play around with that. I mean, I stick to what works, which are those common design elements. And then I just kind of switch things out for split testing, like different headlines or different colors, that kind of stuff. I usually don't really change the position of the elements on the landing page as much as just like changing text, for example, or changing colors. Because the elements are where they are for a reason, if that makes sense. Okay. How would I improve that design? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I would have usually the video or some sort of text box with a call to action, a clear call to action, and then usually the opt-in form is going to be over here somewhere, right? And then there's the bullet list, which are like features or why the business is different. Like why the business is different than other competitors in the area, call to action again, some testimonials, that kind of thing. But try to keep your landing pages simple, especially I don't know so much for, it's not so critical for SEO. Like if you've got local lead gen sites that you're using SEO as your way to generate leads, I don't know if it's as critical, but for AdWords stuff, for when you're paying for traffic, you really don't want like this. There's so many, somebody could land on this page. I don't know that they're running ads to this, guys. I'm just saying this is not something I would run as an AdWords landing page, because there's too many distractions on this page for somebody to click and go somewhere else on the site and never end up calling or opting in or submitting a contact request form. So typically on the landing pages, you want one clear call to action, and that's pretty much what the page is built around, which is either pick up on the phone and call or submit the contact request form, or one or both. Do one or the other is what I'm saying, right? So, anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Charlottesville Homes. Hey, it's Toby Beavers here. Quit my job and I'm back in SEO 100%. Awesome, Toby. Question, I'll be rejoining Mastermind in late December after catch up with the basics. Is there anything in the course that's not working now so I don't have to read it? That's funny, Toby. Yeah, I would say just, start with the most recent stuff and work your way back. There's obviously stuff from, 2 years ago that I wouldn't suggest doing now, but honestly, you probably can get everything that you need from the last 6 months anyways, right? So I would start with the most recent, work your way back from there. Once you get to, the beginning of 2016, you could probably, you'll probably already be swimming in too much info anyways. So there are certainly some things that are still valid no matter what, like they're timeless in SEO world, but a lot of like the stuff that we do that's kind of like cutting edge, then that's all going to be recent stuff. So, but once you're in the mastermind, just ask questions, Toby. That's the quickest way to get pointed to the right content. Andrew's up next. He says, I just joined Semantic Mastery and excited to dig into the content. I've been an SEO journeyman for a few years, consulting for 2 local businesses and a tech company. I'm looking forward to learning and applying skills to turn SEO into a significant source of income in the next 6 months. Well, good for you, Andrew. Welcome. Good luck. Larry's up. He says, since the change at IFTTT, I lost the network I had. I saw this question in Facebook. And this is interesting because, yeah, I know no one else seems to have that problem. But I have to recreate my network. I'm not understanding what you mean. However, I can't get started. My network is going to be around my money site. So when I start, it'll be by using feed. When I click feed and new feed item, I put my site.com feed, or with your plugin, my site feed name right. For whatever reason, when I plug that in there, I get not a valid URL. Not sure why, since it's pretty valid in Search Console. Does anyone know what could be causing that? Yeah, Larry, make sure you have a post on your site. I'm not saying you don't, but if you try to submit a recipe or an applet, to create an applet in IFTTT, and you enter in for the feed, which is your trigger, an empty feed. In other words, if you go look at your feed in Firefox, if there's no posts in that feed, it's going to say not a valid feed URL. So you have to have at least one post. Number one. Number two, if you do have a post in your feed and you try to add it and it's still saying not a valid feed URL, it's most likely a plugin conflict, because I've seen that happen too. So go in and disable all your plugins, try it again, and it should validate the feed. It should say it's fine.
Hey, Bradley,
go ahead.
We dealt with this in Facebook, and his problem was that he wasn't set to custom URL. He just had to reset his slugs. That's all he had to do. Once he reset it to custom, everything started working fine.
Oh, you mean the permalinks?
The permalinks, right?
Gotcha. Yep, that's another thing. That's a good point. Yeah, that's right. If you had your permalinks set up to like whatever the default is, post date or whatever, then you're right. It won't work there either.
So that's why he was getting that, and so we went through that, and it was fixed.
Very good. Now, Larry said that also he had lost the network. I don't know what you mean by lost the network, unless you mean you lost the recipes, because IFTTT making changes should not affect all your network properties. It might affect the applets, formerly known as recipes, right? But it shouldn't affect your network. So I'm not sure if maybe that was just kind of lost in translation there. But if you lost your recipes or applets within your IFTTT account, that should not affect your network. Okay, Damon's up. Let's see. And we've only got a few minutes left, guys, so we'll get through just a couple more, and then we're going to wrap it up. Damon says, I have a video that's generating leads. I've reached out via email to a few contractors and sent them leads. They flaked out. This was originally a case study, but actively generating leads. What would you do to sell this? I want to sell flat out. It's for snow removal in South Buffalo, New York. Ooh, that's going to be a busy lead gen property in the next couple months. They are getting it bad now. I don't know what that means. I notice most the contractors either don't answer the phone or can't take the work. Haven't put a bunch of time, but I was thinking create a video with samples of the most recent calls, run through what they are doing well on their site, like your video email training, Bradley, and give a nugget or two and tell them to contact me if they want instant leads. Marco Bradley Hernan, bearded guy. Oh yeah, Adam. How would you sell this? I'm great at getting results. Definitely working on improving my salesmanship. I would just contact more snow removal companies until somebody takes you up on the offer. That's what I would do. And honestly, what I would do is I would have an email template that I would hire a VA to do all the scraping of the leads, and in sending the emails out, right? And so you could set up a prospecting funnel. I know you don't, like, if you're just trying to unload this property, then sell it cheap too. You know what I mean? Like, that's something else you could do just to get it off your hands and still make some money back. But what I do whenever I'm prospecting, I don't do much of it anymore, but when I was doing a lot of prospecting, is I would just, including for service providers for lead gen properties, is I would have a VA scrape all the leads for me manually. I always found that to be way more effective, get much better results. And then I'd have them do all the emailing, and then I would just field responses or replies.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, what you might also want to try to do is like do what Bradley's saying, but then instead of expecting a reply, like maybe send them to like like a opt-in page. I'm trying to think of how this would work best, but basically the idea being like send them to an opt-in page where they can opt in via text, right, and get something back. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know you could do this with other things, but obviously like we do it with ClickFunnels, and you can have it so that they can text and get more information, because a lot of these guys are like other contractors. They're probably going to be able to text or send a message while they're out, but they're not going to scroll through and read like a long ass email and watch a video and all that, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
try to make the point of contact there easier for them somehow, because that's probably the only hurdle. So the other thing is they might just be swamped. Like I live up by Buffalo, and so they may have their hands full and not need it, but you never know. And it's a numbers game. So if you can get a VA on it and then reduce the friction point. So
yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you said you've reached out to several contractors and they flaked out, well, there's got to be more contractors. Somebody will take you up on the offer. It's just it's a numbers game.
yeah, and if you mean flaked out and you want to unload it, like if they just said no, that's one thing. But if they just didn't answer, like try going back again. You know what I mean? Give them round 2 and be like, hey, make up some reason or whatever, and just be like, hey, blah blah blah. I'll give you a $10 discount or something. I don't know. Just an excuse to contact them again.
Yeah. Keith Best is up, and I know we're just about out of time, guys. We'll give it about another 3 minutes. Keith Best said, just a heads up for those following Local Kingpin, got up to creating tags, and Tag Manager followed the video and created them, tested using Tag Assistant, got an error. Keith, that's an error in Tag Manager. And I spent about an hour going through the exact same thing that you're talking about here. Is it really pissed me off because I was seeing the exact same thing that you're seeing. I'm assuming that's going to be the same trouble, but yeah, that's what it is. Did this twice and then did a search on Google. Google has changed the tag IDs from 6 to 7, but Tag Assistant hasn't been updated. So you did the exact same thing I did. I was annoyed with it because I spent about an hour trying to figure out what the hell was wrong. And eventually I did some searches, and I found in some forums, several different forums, that is indeed what the problem is. They changed the tag IDs from 6 to 7, and the Tag Assistant plugin, Chrome extension, has not been updated yet. So anyways, yep, look, he said that was 2 and a bit hours bloody wasted. I feel your pain, brother. I spent about an hour on that. So we've got, between the two of us, over 3 hours wasted. Congratulations on your ad approval. Thanks, Ganty. Let's see. Did you think the videos are watched through an incognito or something might index? Do you think that if the videos are watched through an incognito window or something might index the YouTube videos? The problem I have with that, Ganty, is, oh God, that's an awful, awful picture.
That is disturbing.
It is disturbing. The turkey twerk.
I kept scrolling past that. Every time I went up to check for questions, I was like, yeah, nope, I can't stay here.
Ganty, the problem with sending views to a non-indexed video is that can seem unnatural too. Does that make sense? If a video is not indexed, where are the views coming from? Granted, it can be an unlisted video. It can be embedded on other, on websites as an unlisted video, and people can be watching it. But I just, I hesitate to send like fake traffic or whatever to a video that's not been indexed yet. I always like to wait until it's indexed before I start sending traffic to it. So, and the reason for that is just because I don't want to raise any red flags. Because, Google knows or YouTube knows if the visitor is watching the video on YouTube or if they're watching it on an embedded, that you can tell all that from by looking at YouTube analytics, right? It'll tell you if the video has been watched on YouTube, whether it's been on the watch page or the channel page or in a playlist or in an embed or anything like that. And so what I wouldn't recommend just sending views to it unless it's been indexed. All right. Okay, guys, we really have to wrap it up. Oh, wow. Look, we're all pretty much done anyways. I've started using CSM as CSM. Oh, crowd search for traffickers. But I am curious why it didn't show up in Google Analytics and Insights. I'm not sure, Mark. I'm not sure what you mean by this question. Why it didn't show up in Google Analytics? I'm not sure. I'd have to dig into that a little bit more. But we're out of time anyways, guys. Looks like that was pretty good timing because we're just about done. Masterclass starts in 5 minutes, guys. We'll see you over there. Thanks everybody for being here.
Ooh, see everybody.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye.